Welcome! In this video I'm going to cover changing directory and default ACL file permissions. If you have not yet watched the video on changing ACL file permissions, then I recommend you do that before watching this video. Directories can also have ACLs applied to them, and these are set using exactly the same methods as for files. One setting to remember is the execute permission on directories. Without it, users associated with a file ACL will not have permission to change into the directory and use the file. It is also important to remind you that just like normal file access rules, any parent directory hierarchy must have at least the execute permission set on the other user permission setting. Usually, if you are setting an ACL on a directory, then there is a very high probability that you also want to set the same ACL on the contents of the directory. setfacl-R will recursively update the directory and its content. However, it is very common to use the capital X permission in place of the lowercase x permission in this circumstance, as it sets the execute permission on directories, and will only set the execute permission on a file if the file already has it set, for example, scripts. Directory ACLs control access to the directory, but do not get automatically inherited by new files or new subdirectories. If you need new files and directories to inherit ACL settings when they are first created, then you need to create default ACLs. Typically, a directory will have the same default ACLs as it has standard ACLs, although that is not a requirement. Setting default ACLs is almost identical to setting standard ACLs, except you either prefix the ACL with D:, or use the -D option on the command line. As with standard directory ACLs, remember to include the execute permission for directory search access. You do not need to worry about files getting the execute permission because the new file mask is RW only, so new files never get the execute permission by default. Another thing to remember is that file ownership still operates the same. That is, the UID of the user creating the file will be the file owner UID, and the primary GID will be the GID for the group owner value, unless the parent directory has the setGID flag set, in which case the file will inherit the GID of the parent directory. To remove an ACL or default ACL from a directory, use the -X option and include the D: prefix for default ACLs. You can delete all default ACLs using the setfacl-K option, leaving the standard ACLs unchanged. Or setfacl-B will delete all ACLs. As with file ACLs, it is possible to use the output of getfacl to pipe values to setfacl. Here I am using the standard ACLs to set the default ACLs. To recap, setting directory ACLs and default ACLs is mostly identical to setting file ACLs, except default ACLs get prefixed with D:. Likewise for deleting default ACLs. You can use -K to delete just the default ACLs, but -B deletes all ACLs. Use -R and X for the execute permission when recursively updating a directory and its contents. That concludes this video. Thanks for watching.